Hi everyone, I am going to be starting a new series in Tiny Year. This is by Colouring Heaven, the Colouring Heaven magazine, with all the pictures by Agotapop in here. We are doing a February page, which makes sense. There are these 6 images. They all have a Valentine's theme, which I rather like. So you've got a little bird and a locket and various heart-shaped bits and pieces, which I think is lovely. Now, if you don't have this book, now it is available in shops, it's sold out online. In the UK you can get it in supermarkets and WH Smiths and things like that, but it is coming out abroad later in the year. But to say that these pictures are also available on Agotapop's Etsy page as a February Tiny's download, so you can get them there as well. It's not just these pictures, you have quite a mix of pictures in that download, so you can choose to do that way if you wish. So here we have our first image, and I'm going to be using my Holbein pencils. Now these are new to me, I have played with them a little bit now, but I realised that most of you probably don't have the Holbeins, so I have done some comparison charts with some of the other main brands, so you can colour along with those if you wish. If I haven't done one for the brand that you like to use, let me know, I'll see what I can do. Now they do have a pastel-y section which is quite hard to match with polychromos, but I've done my best. So anyway, let's get going. So I'm going to start with the branch. I'm going to use quite a light colour to get me started. So I'm just grabbing it. This is the tan, okay? And I'm just going to put a layer of tan over the whole branch just to get a base layer. And then I am going to put some different colours into it as well. I need to sharpen it though. I'm also reluctant to sharpen a brand new pencil. I think this has been sharpened already, but I don't know why I get so scared, but I'm trying to be brave. Hopefully I'm not the only one that has that fear. There we go. I was actually sharpening a pencil this morning. It's driving me batty. It was a graphite pencil, and I was using a Norris sharpener for graphite pencils, and it kept breaking, and I thought the sharpener was quite full, so I emptied it out. I actually had two leads stuck in the sharpener bit in the hole. It wasn't this sharpener, and so I tipped those out and then did it again, and it still broke. I was like, ooh. Right, burnt umber next. I'm going darker. Again, I want it quite sharp because this is going to be our sort of shadowy part of our branch. I think this sharpener's really full, actually, which isn't good. A full sharpener can make your pencil break. So I'm putting a darker bit here and on this end, and then I'm just going to fade it into the branch, just gently. Reducing the amount of layers and the amount of pressure so that we get this sort of darker edge like that, and then just taking that up slightly. Yeah, so I don't know what's wrong. I think the sharpener might just be blunt. That can happen, so I may just switch it with another one. I think I may have got it out of my drawer, which means that it was pretty rubbish. I was trying to do the Sudoku puzzle in the Big Issue magazine, and me and my son cracked it. It was third time lucky. We don't often finish a Sudoku, but we get close twice and then found an error, where I'd accidentally written the same number twice in the space. So we decided to really I decided to really persevere, and he came down for breakfast and I was doing it, so we did it together, and we got there eventually and we cracked it. Okay. Well, you sort of assume, we haven't looked up the answer. I'm trying to find the beige. Where are you, beige? There it is. I can't see. The light is shining off the pencils, and the gold print is quite hard to read sometimes. It's a problem with all pencils, isn't it? I'm going to try using I've got a different sharpener on my desk. Let's try using that. Oh, that's better. It's not full. There. And I'm going to use this to sort of blend it all together. Now, Holbeins do need to be layered, or else you will see the white paper through. There's not always anything wrong with seeing the white paper through, but if you dislike it, then you're going to have to make sure you add quite a few layers in order to hide that. And that's how I like to colour. I like layering up, so they work well for me. They aren't so much like the Prismas where you can just sort of plaster them down, which I tend to layer my Prismas though. Now, I'm still not 100% happy with my branch. It's looking pretty cool. But what I'm going to do is grab a sepia and just put a few dark areas on it. Again, I'm just going to need sharpening. Oh, it's broken in the sharpener. Perhaps they they did come with a sharpener which I haven't even used yet. Maybe I should. There we go. Right, so I'm going to use this sepia. That's why I get scared of sharpening new pencils, by the way. And I'm just going to emphasise that darker base, but also put a bit of shadow to the side of the feet. It's just the slightest mark. It takes concentration. Apparently I can't speak while I'm doing it. Now I'm going to put a little bit here and here. We're having quite the celebration at the moment. My one son has got his job for his placement, which is really exciting. So what he has to do as part of his course, I think we'll do this key and we'll do it gold. Now we do have a gold pencil in this set, metallic-y one. I'm not going to use that. Well, I might use it a little bit, but I'm not going to totally use that. I'm actually going to start with this burnt umber, and I'm going to create a sort of gold. I think I'll put the dark colour down here, maybe along the edge here. So yes, so he's been offered a job, a placement at a local company which he can walk to, and they're happy to teach him lots of different elements that they do. They're a sort of IT computery company, and that's what he wants to go into. So they're happy to sort of show him lots of different things that they do. Now where do I go? Tan? It will look a bit too much like the branch. What I'm going to do is try this. This is the gold. This is the metallic gold. I'm going to put a bit of this in. Now, it's not particularly shiny like metallic pencils aren't really, are they? But I'm going to mix it in and put some other colours into as well. So I'm going to put this over the top of the dark umber that I've put already and just extend that area of colour a bit further. Yes, so that's really exciting. So he's just sort of sorting out all the details with them, but he's going to be with them from June time, and they said he can work 5 days a week or 3 days a week depending on what suits him. He's just not really sure, but they're sort of going to be quite flexible on that, so he can change his mind, which I think is really nice. Now I want a lighter colour. I could try the pale gold. Shall I? I think I might want something a bit more yellowy, but I'll give it a try anyway and see what happens. Got quite a lot of pencil crumbs, haven't we? There we go. So here is the pale gold. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. You're going to struggle to see that. My aim is to try and leave a bit of white in places on here. so that it looks like it's got a shine. I'm going to have to put a bit under that beak there. You can see I'm struggling a little bit with staying in the lines, but I'm doing my best. Yeah, so he's got the this opportunity to, you know, work in with different departments, and that's good. Now the bird, I'm thinking I don't want to do the bird brown or grey. I want to add a bit of colour into this, and we could do, I'm thinking I quite like to do in blue. I know we're sort of, it's a love theme, it's February, Valentine's-y type thing going on. I think if I do him blue with a red ribbon, that could work. That's what I'm going to try. What have we got blue-wise? We've got quite a lot of different, I'm quite liking the idea of starting with something really pale and then building up a little bit. So I'm going to use this really pale blue. This is Horizon Blue. I'm going to put that all over my bird, and then put some, I may do the beak and feet in a grey. I know I said I wanted to sort of avoid that, but we might do. So I'm just putting a layer down. I'm being careful not to press too much down because I don't actually know how many layers this paper can take. I haven't tried the Holbeins on. Oh, I have, that's a lie. I have tried the Holbeins on this paper, but I haven't tried layering up hugely. So I don't want to risk burnishing it too hard. So we'll just get like a light layer. We can always come back and add more, but taking it away, once you've burnished, you can't. Right, there we go. And now I'm going to find a slightly darker blue, and I could use the Sky Mist, which is quite nice, but I'm going to go for the more yeah, I'm going to go a bit darker. I'm going to go for the Saxe blue first. Now if you have got the pastel tints or the macaron Brufunas, they are copies of Holbein. Now there's only 50 in the set. They're mainly the tray of 50 pastels. There's a few slight discrepancies, but I'm going to put a bit of darker colour under this edge here. But so you can sort of follow along. I've done some comparison charts of those, but obviously the darker colours are different. I'm quite interested to know whether if you have one of the full sets of Brufunas you have a copy of everything, or whether the castles copy these because the pastel tints are a copy. And I'm a little bit upset in a way that they've copied. There's no need to. They could have come up with their own colours. It seems a shame, really. Now I've got a bit of, I'm just going to go back over that shadowy bit a little bit. But what I'm going to do with these is go dark top, light bottom. So I'm going to start up here and work that top bit and then fade it off. Those are so small. Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame, really, that they felt the need to copy. But I mean, it's nice that there are pencils that people who can't afford the high budget ones can use that are, you know, almost as good and have the similar colours and things like that. But it's just a shame that they can't just be a bit more unique. You could still have a set of really lovely pastel pencils without having to copy another brand. I have to say, I didn't know that they were copies when I bought them. Had I known, I think I would have had second thoughts, to be honest. Well, I didn't buy them actually, I was gifted them, but one up of them on my wish list. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy them now I've got them. So yeah, definitely. But these are beautiful pencils, these Holbein. Now, the person who gifted them to me said she's having she's having trouble with them on some paper, some certain papers. So I'm trying them out on different papers to see how I'm finding them. Now I haven't, there are certain papers in certain books that I always struggle with. So what's her name, Millie Marotta and Lulu Mayo papers, both of theirs, I really always struggle to get a good finish on the paper. So I'm interested in trying these in their books to see what happens, really. But I haven't yet. I've tried them in some Johanna Basford pages, and it was a bit of a learning curve, I have to say, but because they're new, there's always going to be you know, new pencils always always a little bit tricky. We have to learn how to use them. Yeah, there's that. Now I want an even darker colour. I'm going to grab the Prussian blue. I think that's a sort of almost equivalent-ish colour but dark. Let's get him out. Here we go. Prussian blue. Sorry, let's get him there. Right. Now what I'm going to do with this is significantly darker, is pop it into here to create a real sort of depth of shadow underneath this wing, where the wing's sort of nestling on the tail, like that, and just gently fade it a tad. And then I'm going to do the same on all of these. So we've just got, I'm almost just using it to create the illusion of shadow. You don't have to use a dark blue, you could even use a black or a grey for this, but I'm trying it with the blue and seeing what it looks like. I'm really just going just under the black lines that are printed on the book and trying to work my way around and along. And now if you don't have this book or any of Agata's work, you can use this technique for any bird, you know, and most illustrators have birds of some sort in their books, so you can just find one to do it with. Sorry. There we go. That's quite harsh there. What I'm going to do is go back to the saxe blue and just here and put a little bit in here. There we go. And here I'm just trying to sort of tidy it up slightly, smush it a bit. These are a little bit smushy. I'm not going to do it with those. In fact, I've just noticed I've missed a bit up here. Or if I haven't missed it, it looks like I have. Maybe my line wasn't quite as thick as it needed to be. There we go. Now on the head, I'm not really sure. I'm just going to, we've got a few dots and dashes. I'm just going to sort of mark those in really in the blue. Like that. And I think I'm going to fill in that bit. A little bit. Now we've got a few marks on the tummy. And that bit, look, is in shadow. I'm just going to put a few like feathery marks here with our blue, and then I'm going to do the same with the saxe blue, just a sort of few feathery marks. Now a few more on here. There we go. Now the eye, we've got the, I'm trying to think what they look like. They're usually just a black circle, aren't they? But it's not drawn that way, so I'm going to grab the black. Oh, it's really sharp when I push it out of the pencil case. Now there's a tiny circle drawn on here which needs to be left white. It's going to be quite the challenge. Doing my best. There we go. And I've got to decide whether I want to leave the outside bit white or not. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to do the beak and the legs and then think about it. So I think a cool grey is going to work nicely with our blue. So I think the cool grey 3 could be 4 actually. Cool grey 4 could be our best bet. I'm just going to grab my magnifying specs because I'm just starting to struggle to see. Right. So this is cool grey number 5. Cool grey number 5. I am lying to you. I'm going to put it on quite lightly because I'm not quite sure what to expect from it. Yeah. I want it a bit darker where it's under the body here. I can layer it up a little bit more. And the same here. Actually, Agata has drawn a few lines to help us a little bit. Think about where to put that shadow. And I'm thinking it might be darker towards the back and bottom. Like that. Now you could go over the rest with a lighter colour. I actually prefer seeing the white through. So now if I put the colour on top, it will sort of plaster it down a little bit, and I don't like that idea. I'm going to do the beak, start a little bit darker at the bottom. Same with the top part. Just sort of fade it up a bit. I'm quite liking seeing a little bit of that paper through, like that. Now our ribbon, as I say, I want to do that red. I can't see my swatch shot with my magnifying glasses on. I can't see that one either. There we go. I think Signal Red is a really good sort of Valentine's-y type colour. There we go. It's like the mid-red sort of thing. Let's give it a sharpen. Right, Signal Red. And I'm going to put a little layer across all of our ribbon, I think. Just a really light layer. Just helps me mark out where the red is going to be and think about where I want lighter and darker patches. And apparently I go out of the lines while I'm doing it. Now inside the bow here and here, there's going to be some shadow. It's going to be quite dark. So I'm actually going to choose a darker colour for that bit. I'm going to choose the crimson. And I'm just going to give it a sharpen. And put a little bit of crimson in there. There we go. So here is the crimson. And going right along that line, that's the bit that I think is going to be the darkest. So then I just fade it out a little bit like that. We do the same with this one. So right along the line with quite an intense line of crimson, and then fade it like that. And there's this line here which is like a fold in the ribbon, and here, and I think there's a shadow there too. Now where they cross there, the shadow from the key there, bottom of our bow, and each edge of this bit in this darker colour. That wasn't very effective. And now back to our Signal Red. And I'm going to start here where this is wrapped around the key. It's going to be darker on the edges than the middle. So I'm just going to extend our red a little bit and leave a line down the centre. With the bow, it's going to be a bit lighter at the top, I think. And then this one, I'm just going to fill that in a bit there. Here, darker at the bottom, and maybe dark here, a bit lighter in the middle bit there. So again here, a bit darker there, and then fade it off quite quickly. Darker by the knot, and then just leave a bit that's a bit paler. And you could use a bit of white there, but the problem with using white with red is that it goes pink. So it's probably better to just fade your red. That's what I'm going to do here. You could leave white paper, but I didn't want it completely white. So I'm gently reducing my layers to leave a bit here that's a bit lighter. And then once I'm done with all of it, I'll have a look and see if I think it's worked. There we go. So I'm just going to brush that off and have a look. Yeah, I'm going to fiddle a bit more, but I think that's pretty much doing what I wanted. So I'm just putting a few more layers in a few areas. Now this Colouring Heaven magazine paper I find quite good. Now I have seen people complain about it. It's not as thick as some paper, but then they have to, like every publisher, balance the cost of the paper with the cost of the magazine, making sure, you know, that people are getting value for money while not being overcharged for something, you know, that they might not pay that much money, if you know what I mean. I'm going to go back in with my crimson and overdo some of the shadowy areas again. That I think they've got, for me personally, I feel that the balance is right, that the paper still is, you know, it's better than copy paper. It feels to me like it can take the right amount of layers without being, you know, really expensive. Just going to put a tad in the corners here. But obviously everyone likes different paper, so it's hard to know for sure. Now our bird's eye, I have decided I want to put a little bit of colour in there just before I finish. I'm going to use the Cool Grey 3, just scrub it and sharpen it, and I'm not going to completely fill in that white circle. I'm going to put a little bit on each side, so I'm going to put a little bit here and a little bit here, and then just fade it towards the top and bottom, so there's a bit less and it looks a little bit shiny, and I feel that gives it a little bit more of a life, a bit more of a look that gives him a bit more of a lifelike look. I know what I mean. Right, I'm just going to grab the Cool Grey 5 and do a little bit of shadow between the wing and the body. You might not want to be this fussy. I just feel like it just needs just that tiny little bit there. Like that. You could have done it with a blue, but I decided that grey would look more shadowy. So there we are. I am happy with him. I am going to finish there, I think. But thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it looks quite dark. I do have my light on, but the sun's shining and I think it's affecting it a little bit. But anyway, yes, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be continuing this series. We're doing the others on this page, and they will all be with Holbein pencils. And as I say, you can grab some comparison charts, or let me know if you need some. But thank you so much. Have a super day and happy colouring.